Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Old Geezer's Diary here on the Old Geezer's Diary Facebook page and YouTube page, and on the similar Old Geezer's Show pages on Sunday the 4th of December 2022. Don't you make mistakes sometimes when you're under pressure? It's so easy to do. Okay, so what are we talking about today? Well, it's Sunday, it's the sofa, and I thought we'd have a chat on the sofa. You can join me if you like. I would love to hear from you. And if you're out there, give me a shout. Okay, good afternoon, Adam. Let's move on and have a look at what we're talking about today. What I'm trying to do with the Old Geezer's Show is gradually work into a fairly frequent basis of production, try and do 3 or 4 shows a week, plus additional bits and pieces in the Old Geezer's Diary. So I've got those 2 channels, the Old Geezer's Diary and the Old Geezer's Show, on both YouTube and on Facebook. Same content shows on each. The show is more about things like this, where we're doing a properly produced kind of program, and the diary is stuff that happens and things that interest me. So I talk about sometimes TV programs, sometimes about food and drink, just about things that interest me. And I think that's a good thing to do. And it's fun to share. And if you've got something to say or something to show us, then you can do that. No problems at all. Okay. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, the first thing, or the only thing I want to talk about today really, is about the way that our world works with regard to older people. I was reading a piece in the Telegraph today, and as you can see here, it's really an odd situation with pensions. Let's put it that way. How can we get around this one? How can we talk about this one sensibly? Well, the Telegraph did a very nice piece, I must say, talking about what the realities of pensions and pensioners are. As you can see from the article here, they're talking about actually putting the pension age up to possibly 70, which it originally was. Pension age was originally 70, and people got 5 bob a week if they'd lived in the UK for more than 20 years and they hadn't been found drunk in the pavement. Literally, it was a means-tested benefit, and if you didn't fulfill the rules, you didn't get the dosh. The pension now is universal. Everybody over 65 is entitled, or 66, should I say, is entitled. And there you have it. So, okay, so that's the interesting one. The government think that if they were to increase the pension age quickly to, say, 68, then they would save billions of pounds a year, and they'd increase the workforce, which is something they're desperate to do as well. I thought I'd read through this article and have a look at some of the stuff that they were talking about. And some of it is really interesting. The first one that got me was this one. Now, if you don't really understand how this works, let's take a look at the graph. Back in 1980, the male lifespan was estimated or predicted to be 70 years old for a man and about 77 for a lady, a woman. Okay, so that was back in 1980. That's not a long time ago. That's 42 years ago. And the figures were quite dramatic, weren't they? So now men are up to around 70, well, nearly 80, aren't they? 78, 79. Men are estimated on average. That means I've got 3 years to go, bloody hell. But men are reckoned to be on up to nearly 80, and women are predicted to be nearly, well, let's say about 83, their lifespan. But in the last year or two, those figures have gone down, not by a great deal, but they have nonetheless gone down. Now, I think the actual figure that I saw was the male lifespan had gone down by about 4 months, and the female lifespan had gone down by about 3 months. But that is now predicted to continue. So in other words, we'll continue to lose years off our lives. Scary, isn't it? We're predicted to lose years of our lives into the future. We don't really know why. We'll try and find out a bit more detail about that and come back to you. But that's an interesting one, because that means that already the government's costs for pensions are going down, only slightly, but nonetheless they are going down. Okay, but there's an alternative, another viewpoint, of course, brought on by the overall increase in lifespan up to recently, which is that our population as a whole is aging. As you can see here, looking across to the left of the picture, you've got back in 1972, well, there weren't that many old people about over the age of, let's say, 65, something like that. Okay, so 65 was about the figure. We were looking at those two little lumps on the left-hand side, and a tiny little proportion of those people were over 85. Then go to the middle one, and the 85 plus group has grown a bit, and the 65 to 84 group has grown a lot, while the younger group, the 55 to 64, has stayed about the same. And that stayed about the same until the third graphic, until the third column for 2072. There's a prediction for 2072. And then the people over 85 have grown about doubled from now. The people at 65 to 84 have also about doubled till now. And the group 55 to 64, well, they've stayed much the same. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I have to say that's a really fascinating one. And that, of course, means that the cost of pensions will go up by a big lump. What the overall figure is coming to is that our current state, they're spending around 5%, 4-5% of the gross domestic product, the GDP, on triple lock, keeping the triple lock up to date, if they can manage to keep it going. And then by around 2071, that cost is going to go up from 5% to 8% of the gross domestic product, which is a huge lump. Let's see what people have got to say. So, Darren, the graph only shows how the NHS has peaked, but due to severe underfunding, the service levels and indeed, yeah, I think that's very true, Darren. I have to say, we go back to that graphic and have a look at that one. Yeah, I think the NHS may well have peaked, and the NHS may well be declining. It's a very good question, isn't it, really? And where we go with this is interesting and somewhat scary, I think, really. It has to be a bit scary, doesn't it? What do people make of it? Now, from my point of view, I'd love to hear more from you. I'd love you to get in touch. I would like you to actually tell me what you think about these situations and how you think, as pensioners, it's going to affect us. Don't forget that you can get in touch anytime. You really can, through our Facebook pages and from our YouTube pages. If you wish to, if you've got a smartphone, you can join in the program. You need to give us a little bit of warning if you want to do that. And we'll increasingly be doing things like publicising what the topics are going to be for the day as I get better and better organised with doing these shows. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, thanks to you, Adam, for being out there. Thanks to you, Darren, for being out there. Don't forget, if you're watching the show and you're on catch-up, you can still make your comments. I'd love to read your comments. Every comment and every remark that comes across to us does get, really and truly does get, I've lost where I am. There we go. Good. Every comment you make does get picked up and read by me. And if we can, we're going to include bits about your comments in future programs. And we'll also invite you on board as well. So I'll say, for instance, to Darren, well, Darren, if you want to have a talk about this at some point, I would love to hear what you've got to say, and I think the world would like to hear what you've got to say if we say it directly. If you want to join in the show on your phone at some point in the future, just let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, what are we going to do next? I don't think we're going to do anything very exciting next. Those were the things I wanted to show you specifically today and get my teeth sorted out. Let me recommend very highly this article in the Telegraph. It was published on the 3rd of December. You should be able to read it free, I think, and I'll include a link to that. I think I have to do that on YouTube. I don't think I can do it on Facebook, but we'll see where we go with that. As far as the rest is concerned, let's just run through those other graphs again that came from the Telegraph article. This is the drop in predicted life expectancy, which has only really happened in the last couple of years. It is a bit surprising, but it is predicted to continue and continue to decline, which is a bit scary. Then we have this one, which is a growth in the older percentage or the older part of the population. So we're getting a bigger, older population, which is going to cost more to keep alive, if you like. So we'll see where that one goes. I won't be here to see it, I hope. And then finally, we've got the state spending projections, which are basically the cost of maintaining the triple lock into the future if things go on as predicted. It's really an interesting one. I don't think anybody really and truly knows where it's really going, because like all of these things, it's a guess. Statisticians make guesses, so do politicians, and the reality is that no one knows where it's going to go, because we don't know about unforeseen issues. Like, for instance, 2 or 3 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, we didn't have any anticipation of A, the COVID disaster, and B, the Ukrainian war. So in reality, those things have changed the way our world is working, have changed so much, like costs and cost of living, cost of food, cost of heating. All those things have changed because of factors that only came into play in the past 2 or 3 years, and those are things that we can't predict. So they may change those numbers. Who knows in the future, but we'll see. Okay. I hope you found that mildly interesting. As I say, if you've got a topic or something relevant to older people that you would like to have a look at or think about, then we're going to do more and more structured shows gradually as we go along, and as I get the chance to build them up, which I shall be doing. Okay, I hope we'll be doing more content for you, and I hope that more of that will come through in the shows that I do this week, next week, and deeply into the future. I'm Chris. This is the Old Geezers Show and the Old Geezers Diary, and I promise, see you soon.